Trina, go ahead and open court, and then we'll get started.
The Supreme Court is now in session. The Honorable F. Philip Carbolito, Chief Justice, presiding.
And will the clerk please call the promulgation hearing case?
Promulgation Order Number 06-006-18, re amendments to the Guam Rules of Civil Procedure and local rules of the Superior Court for Civil Proceedings. Appearing on behalf of the Guam Rules of Civil Procedure Subcommittee to present the amendments for adoption is Attorney Danielle Rossetti, Clerk of Court for the Superior Court of Guam.
Thank you. Ms. Rossetti, you are now recognized. Please proceed.
Mr. Chief Justice, Justice Torres, and Justice Merriman, may it please the court. On behalf of the Subcommittee on Rules Revisions, I am here this morning as a committee member to present the proposed rule amendments to the Guam Rules of Civil Procedure and the local rules of the Superior Court. The committee, chaired by Justice Robert Torres and co-chaired by the Superior Court civil judges, Judge Arthur Barcinas, Judge Elise Iriarte, and Judge Dana Gutierrez. Members of the committee also include civil practitioners from the Guam Bar Association, judiciary attorneys, and judiciary staff. Over the course of the last few months, the committee met regularly to discuss amendments to the Guam Rules of Civil Procedure and the local rules of court. The local rules of the Superior Court include the civil rules, general rules, and the miscellaneous rules. The subcommittee will be presenting various amendments as the rules are addressed, rather than presenting all revisions at once. In the coming weeks, additional rules will be presented for review and circulation to the Guam Bar Association. Today, however, the committee is proposing amendments and revisions to the following rules. From the local rules of the Superior Court of Guam, Civil Rules 7.1J, amending applications for orders shortening time and proposing a new CVR Form 4. A new Civil Rule 7.1K on ex parte applications and a new CVR Form 5. General Rule 1.1, amending the scope of the rules, and Miscellaneous Rule 2.1.3A on hearings and notices. The subcommittee also recommends amendments to the following Guam Rules of Civil Procedure. Rule 6 on shortening time, Rule 56 on summary judgment, and a new Rule 56.1 as a comparison to the summary judgment rule. If the court will allow me, I would like to briefly highlight the proposed amendments and revisions of the rules I mentioned.
Yes, please do so. That would be very helpful. And for the record, thank you.
Civil Rule 7.1 is the rule on motion practice. 7.1J addresses applications for orders shortening time. The proposed amended rule would clarify the necessary procedural steps to file an application for an order shortening time in circumstances that do not require an ex parte motion. To help applicants comply with this new procedure, the subcommittee also proposes the adoption of CVR 7.1 Form 4. CVR 7.1K is a new proposed rule and would replace in its entirety CVR 7.1.1 titled Ex parte application. The proposed rule clarifies the procedure an applicant must comply with when filing an ex parte motion. To help applicants comply with this new procedure, the subcommittee also proposes the adoption of CVR 7.1 Form 5. The proposed amendment to General Rule 1.1c will remove the reference to CVR 7.1.1 because of the proposed adoption of the new 7.1K and the repeal of 7.1.1. The proposed amendment to Miscellaneous Rule 2.1.3a removes the reference to CVR 7.1.1 and clarifies the ex parte procedure for temporary orders of protection. With our Guam Rules of Civil Procedure, the subcommittee proposes the repeal of Rule 6, subsection C, titled Shortening Time, because orders shortening time are covered in proposed Rule 7.1J. The subcommittee is also proposing amendments to Guam Rules of Civil Procedure 56 on summary judgments. The amendments of this proposed rule follow the Federal Rule 56 in its entirety. And finally, Rule 56.1 is a proposed rule and is a new rule modeled after similar rules in many other jurisdictions that require a party moving for or opposing summary judgment to explicitly provide the court with the issues and undisputed facts relevant to the motion for summary judgment. Notice of the proposed rules regarding civil practice was sent to the Guam Bar Association on January 10th, 2022, and written comments were accepted through February 10th. Notice of the virtual promulgation hearing was filed on February 23rd, 2022, and sent via listserv to the Guam Bar Association members. No written comments were received during the comment period. However, after the notice of hearing was sent, the Supreme Court Clerk of Court received one comment on proposed Rule 56.1. The attorney recommended that the proposed rule be included in the local rules as a new CVR 56.1 instead of including it as GRCP 56.1. The committee's view is that the rules be compiled together for ease of reference and confusion. We will, however, leave the formatting and compiling of the rules to the court. At this time, Your Honors, the subcommittee requests that the Supreme Court adopt and approve the proposed rule revisions as highlighted above. Thank you, Your Honors.
So Justice Torres, would you like to comment just in reference to how we should proceed in considering and adopting and acting on these rules?
First of all, I want to thank the Clerk of Court for a very comprehensive report. I think she was succinctly, but yet put enough detail to provide an overview of the changes that the committee has made to these rules. The committee spent a significant amount of time, sent it out to the Guam Bar Association for comment, as was indicated, and are, wholeheartedly and unanimously recommended that these changes be made. What I would suggest is that we take the matter under advisement and address the most recent comment we received regarding whether to include Rule 56.1 as a local rule or as a part of the Rule of Civil Procedure itself, and that we issue a promulgation order adopting the rules as provided, and the court, as indicated by the clerk, make the decision on formatting and the inclusion of the rules. The most important message, I think, from practitioners, which was very clear, is they wanted to see the local rules and the local rules of civil procedure and the rules of civil procedure in one compendium. They didn't want to cite two sources. And there have, for example, in the FRAP rules, you have the FRAP rules and then the Ninth Circuit local rules that complement the FRAP rules. And so I think we are going to, probably look towards combining all of the local rules and civil rules, and we'll just address this one issue on Rule 56.1, which has been submitted. And we've also talked to the compiler of law about starting to work on that. So once we have our panel conference to discuss these changes and see if there are any issues, I don't think there will be any, other than just our decision as to how we move forward with regards to inclusion of the new 56.1 rule on summary judgment, which is the source comes from local rules from Texas and Massachusetts.
Thank you,
Yes.
Justice. Yeah, I was going to recognize you, Justice Merriman, if you have any comments or questions.
Is there a proposed effective date in the recommendation from the committee?
I think the recommendation would be upon the enactment of the promulgation order and approved by the Supreme Court. So we could decide what date we want to put in there, but the committee's hoping that it would be effective as soon as we can. And that's part of the reason the committee did not want to wait for a wholesale a review of all the rules, felt that it would, help with practitioners, particularly with the new forms. And so it would be up to us to decide on an effective date. But the committee's recommendation is that they be enacted as soon as the court approves them.
Do
Thank you.
you have any? Okay, all right. So before we conclude this promulgation hearing, Ms. Rossetti, I would ask that you submit your oral report in writing. I think it would be very helpful. So in reference to the deliberation on the part of the court in the event that we need just to make a reference. I agree with Justice Torres that has been very helpful in just highlighting and summarizing the changes. And in the event any bar member wishes to inquire in reference to the action of the court. So I would ask that if you could submit that hopefully within the next few days, that would be very helpful. Okay, all right, thank you.
I will
So,
submit it to the clerk of court, Your Honor.
All right, okay. And all right, so at this time, the recommendation of Justice Torres is that the matter be taken under advisement. There being no objection, that will be the decision of the court at this time, that we'll just take the matter under advisement, and with the notation that we recognize that a lot of work has gone into preparing these proposed changes, and that we should act on it as soon as we can. So with that, and there being no other matters that are coming before the court is now adjourned. Thank you, Ms. Rossetti, and I join Justice Torres in thanking you and your committee members, and Justice Torres and your co-chair for taking on this task, and so that we can update and improve our rules in reference to having a more hopefully efficient practice in our court system. So I have nothing further, and if there's no further comments, the court stands adjourned.
Thank you.